Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all having a great December so far. If you've been subscribed to any other bullet journal channel, you know that usually at the end of the year, they would do a bullet journal flip through of the entire year. And so I wanted to show you guys my bullet journal starting from the beginning of 2020. Getting right into it, these beginning spreads and all the way up to June, I haven't actually showed on camera before, and so it's really weird having to show you guys all these spreads. I first started bullet journaling at the beginning of 2020, and I thought it would be a great idea, except for I never actually used my journal. You will see that other than the occasionally used calendar, there are no weekly spreads for the first couple of months, and I can definitely notice all the little mistakes throughout these spreads. I was just figuring out what bullet journaling was and what I was going to use it for, and I usually forgot about my bullet journal except for when it was time to make a new month. However, as we all know, quarantine and coronavirus hit in March, and so April was when I actually started using my bullet journal regularly. Some people stopped using their bullet journal when quarantine hit because they felt a lack of motivation, but personally using the bullet journal gave me something to do and something to focus on, and so that's when I started using it frequently. This is actually my first weekly spread, and as you can see, it's nothing really special, and all of these beginning themes are really kind of boring, but as you see throughout the year, I'm slowly trying to figure out my style, and you can definitely see a change. Also, in parts of the year, I made some decorative spreads like this one for one of my favorite book series, and it's one of my favorite things about bullet journaling to look back at all the things that I've done during the year and have a sort of a time capsule of what I was into at this point in my life. May was when I started getting into watercolor, and so this entire theme is going to be watercolor strawberries, and at the beginning I really loved it, but by the end of the month I realized that doing a different watercolor painting every week was getting super annoying, and it was definitely not my thing, and so by the end of the month I was so ready to try something different. However, I did like how I explored doing different things this month. Also, this is when I started getting into BTS, my one true love, and so I made a spread and many others later down the road about this group. June was my birthday month, and I stressed really hard trying to make a good theme that would start off the summer strong, and I do kind of like this Paris theme, but towards the end of the weeklies you can see that the Paris theme kind of lost its consistency, and I ended up just using the same color schemes, but making very simple and less doodly spreads. Now, July was the first month that I actually filmed, and ever since July through the rest of the year, all of my monthly planet themes are actually here on YouTube. And so that was when I started being more careful about my themes and making sure I knew exactly what I wanted to put on paper, since I knew that it would be shown to you guys as an inspiration. So all these spreads you may have seen before if you saw those planet themes, which will all be linked below. But this is when I started actually really liking my bullet journal themes. July is actually one of my favorites from the entire year because I loved these bright colors, and even though the 70s isn't really my favorite era from the 20th century, I really liked using it in my bullet journal, and it gave me something new to look at. Then comes August, which was actually one of your guys' favorite planet meets that I've ever made. I really liked this theme, but this particular spread drove me insane because the calendar was so small, and so I definitely learned from quite a few mistakes throughout the months in 2020. However, I think bullet journaling is all about growth, and that can only be shown in this video, as you can see the changing of my style and improving my bullet journal until at the end of the year we have my talent where I am now. I'm super excited to be at this point next year where I can look at my 2021 bullet journal and see how far I have progressed from even that year and the one before. Anyway, so this is September, and it was around this point that I started getting into scrapbooking themes, so you can see a lot more paper being used and some washi tape. Both September and October were very paper heavy and layering heavy themes, but as I learned towards the ends of these 2 months, it was so much work making all these paper heavy spreads. Obviously, a life lesson from this video is think smarter, not harder, because watercolor and paper pasting, while fun, is not my thing for every week in my bullet journal. As you can see, this cover page is another example of layering, and honestly, October was probably my least favorite month of the entire year bullet journal wise. I just thought it was not cute at all, there was no real color scheme, and at this point I was getting so tired of my bullet journal. And so by the time November came around, I really wanted to do something really simple and close to home, that way I could keep bullet journaling for the rest of the year. Here's my November cover page with little Eeyore on the front, and November and December both have a more doodly heavy style than the first 2 months of September and October, and I really liked this form of drawing because it became so much easier to do spreads. And although I am in the middle of December right now, I think my style at the moment is going to stay doodle heavy just because it's so much easier than pasting or painting, and I can do it every week without being so tiresome. Some of my favorite weekly spreads I've ever made are actually in this November setup. I don't know why, but drawing all these characters was so nostalgic and such a challenge to draw something other than human figures. And here is December, the current month, which you guys have probably recently seen in one of my last videos, my December plan with me. This is also one of my favorite themes of the month, but as it is the 6th of December at the moment, it may grow boring towards the end of the year, so we will see in January which was actually my favorite theme. Anyway, so that is pretty much it for this flip through, as the rest of the month has not been filled in yet. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing a little peek into my bullet journal and got a lot of inspiration from some of the spreads that I have made. Feel free to tell me your bullet journaling story in the comments down below. I'd love to hear how you got into bullet journaling and if you're using a bullet journal consistently right now. I'd like to give a quick shout out to my patrons, Erica, Deji, Tammy, Cecile, and Matt. Thank you so much for your support. And with that, I'm going to get going. Have a great day, and I will see you in my next one. Toodles!